Hey guys, if you wanted to find this story by yourself and not have me read it to you, push Command F on your computer and type 331, and we're right at the top of that page. Okay, so you don't have to scroll all the way down through this if you want to read it by yourself. Here we go. The smug look on Hades' face faded. He said, "Godling?" "I'll find your helm, Uncle," I told him. "I'll return it. Remember about Sharon's pay raise?" "Do not defy me." "And it wouldn't hurt to pay with Serbius once in a while. He likes his red rubber balls." "Percy Jackson, you will not!" I shouted. "Now, guys!" We smashed the pearls at our feet. For a scary moment, nothing happened. Hades yelled, "Destroy them!" The army of skeletons rushed forward, swords out, guns clicking to full automatic. The Furies lunged, their whips bursting into flame. Just as the skeletons opened fire, the pearl fragments at my feet exploded with a burst of green light and a gust of fresh sea wind. I was encased in a white, milky sphere, which was starting to float off in the ground. Annabeth and Grover were right behind me. Spears and bullets sparked harmlessly off the pearl bubbles as we floated up. Hades yelled with such rage. The entire fortress shook, and I knew I was not going to be a peaceful night in L.A. "Look up!" Grover yelled. "We're going to crash!" Sure enough, we were racing towards the stalactites, which I figured will pop our bubbles and skewer us. "How do you control these things?" Annabeth shouted. "I don't think you do," I shouted back. We screamed as the bubble slammed into our ceiling in darkness. Were we dead? No. I could still feel the racing sensation. We're going up, right through the solid rock as easily as an air bubble in water. That was the power of pearls. I realized what belongs to the sea will always return to the sea. For a few moments I couldn't see anything outside the smooth walls of my sphere. Then my pearl broke through the ocean floor. The two other milky spheres, Annabeth and Grover, kept pace with me as we soared upward towards the water. And kerblam! We exploded on the surface in the middle of the Santa Monica Bay, knocking a surfer off his board with an indignant, "Dude!" I grabbed Grover and hauled them off over to the life buoy. I caught Annabeth and dragged her over too. A curious shark was circling us in a great white about 11 feet long. I said, "Beat it!" The shark turned and raced away. The surfer screamed something about bad mushrooms and paddled away from us as fast as he could. Somehow, I knew what time it was. Early morning, June 21st, the day of the summer solstice. In the distance, Los Angeles was on fire. Plumes of smoke rising from the neighborhoods all over the city. There had been an earthquake, all right, and it was Hades' fault. He was probably sending an army of the dead after me right now. But at that moment, the underworld wasn't my biggest problem. I had to get offshore. I had to get Zeus's thunderbolt back to Olympus. Most of all, I had to have a serious conversation with the god who tricked me. Chapter 20. My battle with my jerk relative. A Coast Guard boat picked us up, but they were too busy to keep us for long, or to wonder how 3 kids in street clothes had gotten out in the middle of the bay. There was a disaster to mop up. Their radios were jammed with distress calls. They dropped us off in the Santa Monica Pier with towels around our shoulders and water bottles that said, "I'm a junior Coast Guard," and sped off to save more people. Our clothes were sopping wet, even mine. When the Coast Guard boat had appeared, I'd silently prayed they wouldn't pick me out of the water and find me perfectly dry, which might have raised some suspicious eyebrows. So I willed myself to get soaked. Sure enough, my usual waterproof magic had abandoned me. I was barefoot because I'd given my shoes to Grover. Better the Coast Guard wonder why one of us was barefoot than wonder why one of us had hooves. After reaching dry land, we stumbled back to the beach, watching the city burn against the beautiful sunrise. I felt as if I'd come back from the dead, which I had. My backpack was heavy with Zeus's master bolt. My heart was even heavier from seeing my mother. "I don't believe it," Annabeth said. "We went all that way?" "It was a trick," I said. "A strategy worthy of Athena." "Hey!" she warned. "You don't get it, do you?" She dropped her eyes, her anger fading. "Yeah, I get it." "Well, I don't," Grover complained. "Would somebody—" "Percy?" Annabeth said. I'm sorry about your mother. I'm so sorry. I pretended not to hear her. If I talked about my mother, I was going to start crying like a little kid. The prophecy was right, I said. You shall go west and face the god who has turned. But it wasn't Hades. Hades didn't want war against the big three. Someone else pulled off the theft. Someone stole Zeus's master bolt and Hades' helm, and framed me because I'm Poseidon's kid. Poseidon will get blamed by both sides. By sundown today, there'll be a three-way war, and I'll have caused it. Grover shook his head, mystified. But who would be that sneaky? Who would want war that bad? I stopped in my tracks, looking down at the beach. Gee, let me think. There he was, waiting for us, in his black leather duster and his sunglasses, an aluminum baseball bat propped on his shoulder. His motorcycle rumbled behind him, his headlight turning the sand red.
Hey, kid,
Ares said, seeming genuinely pleased to see me.
You were supposed to die.
You tricked me, I said. You stole the helm and the master bolt. Ares grinned.
Well, now, I didn't steal them personally. Gods take from each other symbols of power. That's a big no-no. But you're not the only hero in the world who can run errands.
Who did you use? Clarice? She was there at the winter solstice. The idea seemed to amuse him.
Doesn't matter. The point is, kid, you're impeding the war effort, see? You gotta die in the underworld. Then old Seaweed will be mad at Hades for killing you. Corpse Breath will have Zeus's master bolt, so Zeus will be mad at him. And Hades is looking for this.
From his pocket he took out his ski cap, the kind bank robbers wear, and placed it between the handlebars of his bike. Immediately the cap transformed to an elaborate bronze war helmet. The Helm of Darkness? Grover gasped.
Exactly, Grover said.
Ares said.
Now where was I? Oh yeah, Hades will be mad at both Zeus and Poseidon, 'cause he doesn't know who took this. Pretty soon, we got a nice little three-way slugfest going on.
But they're your family, Annabeth protested. Ares shrugged.
This kind of war, always the bloodiest. Nothing like watching your relatives fight, I always say.
You gave me the backpack in Denver, I said. The master bolt was in there the whole time.
Yes and no, Ares said. It's probably too complicated for your little mortal brain to follow. But the backpack is the master bolt sheath, just morphed a bit. The bolt is connected to it, sort of like a sword you got, kid. It always returns to your pocket, right?
I wasn't sure how Ares knew about that, but I guess a god of war had to make it his business to know about weapons.
Anyway,
Ares continued,
I tinkered with the magic a bit so the bolt would only return to the sheath once you reach the underworld. You get close to Hades, bingo, you got mail. If you died along the way, no loss. I still have the weapon.
Well, why not keep the master bolt for yourself, I said. Why send it to Hades? Ares got a twitch in his jaw. For a moment, it was almost as if he was listening to another voice deep inside his head.
Why didn't I? Yeah, with that kind of firepower.
He held the trance for 1 second, 2 seconds. I exchanged nervous looks with Annabeth. Ares' face cleared.
I don't want the trouble. Better have you caught red-headed hold the thing.
You're lying, I said. Sending the bolt to the underworld wasn't your idea, was it?
Of course it was.
Smoke drifted up from his sunglasses, as if they were about to catch on fire. You didn't order the theft, I guessed. Someone else sent a hero to steal the 2 items. Then when Zeus sent you to hunt him down, you caught the thief, but you didn't turn him over to Zeus. Something convinced you to let him go. You kept the items until another hero could come along and complete the delivery. The thing in the pit is ordering you around.
I'm the god of war. I take orders from no one. I don't have dreams.
I hesitated. Who said anything about dreams? Ares looked agitated. He tried to cover it with a smirk.
Let's get back to the problem at hand, kid. You're alive. I can't have you taking that bolt back to Olympus. You just might get those hard-headed idiots to listen to you. So I've got to kill you. Nothing personal.
He snapped his fingers. The sand exploded at his feet, and out charged a wild boar, even larger and uglier than the one whose head hung above the door of Camp 7 at Camp Half-Blood. The beast pawed the sand, glaring at me with beady eyes as it lowered its razor-sharp tusk and waited for the command to kill. I stepped into the surf. "Fight me yourself, Ares!" He laughed, but I heard a little edge to his laughter, and unease.
"You've only got one talent, kid. Running away. You ran from the Chimera. You ran from the underworld. You don't have what it takes.
Scared?
In your adolescent dreams."
But his sunglasses were starting to melt from the heat of his eyes.
"No direct involvement. Sorry, kid. You're not at my level,"
Annabeth said. "Percy, run!" The giant boar charged, but I was done running from monsters or Hades or Ares or anybody. As the boar rushed me, I uncapped my pen and sidestepped. Riptide appeared in my hand. I slashed upward. The boar's severed right tusk fell at my feet, while the disoriented animal charged into the sea. I shouted, "Wave!" Immediately, a wave surged up from nowhere and engulfed the boar, wrapping around it like a blanket. The beast squealed once in terror, then it was gone, swallowed by the sea. I turned back to Ares. "Are you going to fight me now?" I asked. "Or are you going to hide behind another pet?" Ares' face was purple with rage.
"Watch it, kid. I could turn you into..."
"A cockroach," I said. "Or a tapeworm. Yeah, I'm sure that'll save you from getting those gaudily hide whip, wouldn't it?" Flames danced along the top of his glasses.
"Oh, man, you're really asking me to smash into a grease spot."
"If I lose, turn me into anything you want. Take the bolt if I win. If I win, the helm and the bolt are mine, and you have to go away." Ares sneered. He swung the baseball bat off his shoulder.
"How would you like to get smashed? Classic or modern?" "That's cool, dead boy," he said. "Classic it is."
The baseball bat changed to a huge two-handed sword. The hilt was a large silver skull with a ruby in its mouth. "Percy," Annabeth said, "don't do this. He's a god." "He's a coward," I told her. She swallowed. "Wear this, at least, for luck." She took off her necklace, with her 5 years' worth of camp beads and the ring from her father, and tied it around my neck. "Reconciliation," she said. "Athena and Poseidon are together." My face felt a little warm, but I managed to smile. "Thanks." "And take this," Grover said. He handed me a flattened tin can they'd probably been saving in his pocket for 1,000 miles. "The satyrs stand behind you." "Grover, I don't know what to say." He patted me on the shoulder. I stuffed the tin can in my back pocket.
"You're all done saying goodbye."
Ares came towards me, his black leather duster trailing behind him, his sword glinting like a fire in the sunrise.
"I've been fighting for an eternity, kid. My strength is unlimited. I cannot die. What have you got?"
Smaller ego, I thought, but said nothing. I kept my feet in the surf, backing into the water up to my ankles. I thought back to what Annabeth had said in the Denver diner so long ago. Ares has strength. That's all he has. Even strength has to how to wisdom somehow. He cleaved downward at my head, but I wasn't there. My body thought for me. The water seemed to push me into the air, and I catapulted over him, slashing as I came down. But Ares was just as quick. He twisted, and the strike that should have caught him directly in the spine deflected off the end of his sword hilt. He grinned.
"Not bad, not bad."
He slashed again, and I was forced to jump into dry land. I tried to sidestep, to get back into the water, but Ares seemed to know what I wanted. He outmaneuvered me, pressing so hard I had to put all my concentration on not to get sliced into pieces. I kept backing away from the surf. I couldn't find any opening to attack. His sword had reached several feet longer than Antilochus.